Is Dave from Dutch Tents UK, and on this sunny, slightly breezy April lockdown day 2020, I'm going to showcase a tent, largely for something to do to keep me occupied. But I wanted to do a little video of what is perhaps the most popular and most common of the Dutch pyramid tents. The typically referred to as the Vrijbuiter range of tents. This one is called a Valk. In amongst the range there is also a Stormvogel, a Spewer, and there's a couple of two-pole versions as well, and they all work off pretty much the same basic platform. Very clever idea, marketing idea for these tents. So they all have, whether they are the 4-berth or the 6-berth version, they all have these sewn in, no, they don't have sewn in ground sheets, they have zip in ground sheets. You can see the zip line going round the back. They all have this frame setup as opposed to vertical poles, although you could change these with vertical poles if you wanted. But the other thing that these have is the door and wall system. Presently you can see it lying on the floor. My apologies for the quality of the video, that the sun's right behind me. What's really good about this particular tent, and these are pretty much the only ones that do it, is here we have a zip. As we go forward, we also have a zip. So this whole front door wall can be zipped in the back position, so it meets the ground sheet, in which case you've got a really nice deep 1.5 metre deep porch. Or alternatively, if the weather's really grotty and you want to lock down, you can move the wall forward, and you, rather than just get just over 3 meters of depth, you now go up to 5, although you will need something on the ground because there's no ground sheet here. These tents were made, they weren't made in the Netherlands. Going to go back to the patch. As you can see there, Japio or Japio. This is the company who actually make them. They're made in the Czech Republic. They have a large factory there. Japio actually make quite a lot of Dutch tents for different producers. Allegedly, they now do the main tent construction for De Woord, before De Woord ship them back to the Netherlands for hand finishing. But they're bloody good. These tents were produced in the 1990s and went into the early 2000s, and they sold in absolute bucket loads. They are really, really common, and they're actually really, really good. To my mind, they are the best value pyramid tent. They have the key 3 good ingredients. Really good 300 gram weight 10-cate canvas. Secondly, thick, heavy PVC ground sheet. And thirdly, proper steel strong poles. All in all, giving you a really good value for money and very strong tent. The sides, you'll notice speed locks going round the tent. These are to clip in the inner tent. On the 4-berth, which is this, it is a single inner tent, or they're largely hanging curtains, to be fair. They don't have a ground sheet on the inner tent itself. Arguably they don't need one because there's the ground sheet of the tent, and it also keeps the weight down when you are packing and moving it around if you don't have a ground sheet on the inner tent. So they're largely privacy curtains. What they are good for, though, is in areas where they're mozzies. You can zip yourself in and keep the mozzies completely out. So they're very, very good for that. The other thing about these, what makes them very, very good storm tents, is there's lots and lots of guy ropes. What I've done today is showing you two typical ways of guying it out. This is the easy, fast way, putting 2 guy ropes to 1 peg, or alternatively, you can peg out every single guy rope. I would say if you are in a warm area where there's not a lot of wind and rain, putting the guy ropes, crossing them like this is absolutely fine. If you're going to pitch one of these on the cliff top, on the Llyn Peninsula, or up in the lakes, or down in Cornwall or Pembrokeshire, perhaps guy them all out properly as I've done on this side. These tents were very popular with the rental market. Excuse me, I'm rather thirsty. Very popular with the rental market, and on the island of Leland, where there are a lot of canvas pyramid tents as rentals. Typically you will find at De Wards, but you will also still to this day find quite a few of these there. These are very, very good at taking the weather. They're really good, strong storm tent. But really, it's this front porch. Okay, so perhaps the front of the tent is a little bit square, and it perhaps doesn't have the look of Randstads and De Wards and swoopy Esvos, but what you forsake for that, you get a really, really practical, usable space. Very, very similar to the De Witt Atlantas, the Atlanta 4 and 6. In fact, I would say this is really, really similar to the Atlanta 4, except the Atlanta 4 wall doesn't zip forwards and back. Okay, what I'm going to do from this position is I'm going to drop the inner frame and give you an idea how these things go up. So hang on, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now we can see I've dropped the inner frame. So the front of the tent here is all a bit floppy and loose. If we go and have a quick look outside though, you'll see that it might be a bit floppy and loose, but it still stays up. So when we're going to put this up, notice a spike there and another one there. These are obviously going to correspond to the hole there and the hole there. So what we're going to do, if I can capture this on the video, is we're going to lift the frame up, just keeping it at this angle. I'm doing this one-handed. So I'm going to locate that one there, and then I'm going to very carefully locate this one. This is going to be difficult. The canvas is now a lot tighter, almost in, and there we are. And now just move the leg forward. Okay, that's how you do that. The same for this as well, this front frame. There's a hole down there. The pole should slot through that hole. I've not done it for pitching because I've just very quickly thrown it up to do this showcase video. Whilst I'm here, one of the things you often see with these tents is what I refer to as soggy bottom syndrome. You'll notice at the back of the tent the side walls are tall and they're up. Sometimes if you pitch your tent, you'll notice that they're creased at the back, and actually the skirt at the back of the tent here is closer to the ground than it is at the front of the tent. So this is very, very simple to rectify. All that's happened in that case is you've pitched the tent off square, so it's actually kilting back slightly. So all we do is we simply go along, we literally just back off every guy rope on the tent. Once that's done, we come to the front and we literally pull the tent forward, and as you do so inside you will notice that the walls start to come up because you are now pulling the tent forward. Then once you've done that, retension your big front guy ropes, then go back and retension the skirt guy ropes, and you will find that your tent is no longer soggy bottomed. It's now taut again. Once you've got a good pitch, it should drum. Once it's loose, the wind at the back will catch it and will make it less stable. Once you do the guy ropes tight, it will make it tight as a drum and the wind will bounce off it, and then it will start to take quite a lot of wind loads. So all in all, these are a very, very well made, very tough, really, really good, usable family tent. And they're probably one of my favourites. I've done a lot of camping in these. The advantage of the zip-in ground sheet, of course, is if you have to pack it away wet, you can unzip the canvas. Alternatively, if you want, you can leave the tent zipped to the ground sheet and pack it away that way, which is what I'm going to do with this in a minute. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I hope you found this interesting, particularly if you own one of these tents. If you do have any questions, you can always message me through my Facebook page, which is Dutch Tents for Sale. Yep, I know, great name, eh? Yeah, so please message me if you do have any questions regarding these, or indeed any other canvas pyramid tents. Okay, thank you very much.